Imagine finding out your family's ranch was hiding a 12,600-year-old secret. That's exactly what happened in Montana, 1968. Construction workers were digging, and they hit bone, a skeleton. Nobody knew it yet, but this discovery would eventually challenge everything we thought we knew about the first humans in America. And here's the strange part. The scientist who finally cracked the mystery decades later was the 2-year-old girl who grew up playing on that very ranch. We'll come back to her. Here's the question everyone thinks they already know the answer to. How did humans get to America? Ice Age? Frozen bridge? Walk across? Done. Right? Not even close. The real story involves a land bridge that formed way later than scientists expected. A group of humans possibly trapped in one place for 10,000 years. Footprints frozen in mud that capture an actual family mid-standoff with a giant sloth, and DNA linking a tribe deep in the Amazon rainforest to Australia. Yes, Australia. By the end of this video, you'll know why scientists are still fighting about who arrived first, and why one baby boy's 12,000-year-old skeleton ended up rewriting the entire timeline. Let's start with the bridge itself. For decades, the assumption was simple. The Bering Land Bridge existed for tens of thousands of years, and humans eventually just strolled across it. But in 2022, Princeton researchers dug into ancient sediment from the bottom of the Arctic Ocean. And what they found broke the timeline completely. The land bridge wasn't some ancient, long-standing highway. It was underwater until roughly 35,700 years ago. It barely existed before humans started using it. Think about that. The bridge people picture as this ancient fixture basically opened up right before people crossed it. So here's the real question. How did a group of humans with zero knowledge of what lay ahead decide to cross a brand new, freezing, unmapped strip of land the second it appeared? That decision, whether brave or desperate, is where the story actually gets interesting. Here's where it gets weirder. Some scientists believe humans didn't just cross Beringia in one clean trip. They think a population got stuck there for up to 10,000 years, unable to move forward or back. Ice sheets blocked the way forward. Rising water eventually blocked the way back. So this group was frozen in place, evolving in isolation for millennia before finally pushing south. And we have direct evidence people were living there. In 2016, scientists studying an Alaskan burial site found 2 infants buried together, dated to 11,500 years ago. DNA testing revealed something remarkable. The babies had different mothers and carried 2 distinct genetic lineages. That means the genetic diversity we see in Native Americans today didn't develop after people spread across the continent. It was already there, up in the frozen north, before anyone moved south at all. Now let's talk about the footprints that shouldn't exist. At White Sands, New Mexico, scientists found fossilized human tracks dated between 21,000 and 23,000 years old. And these aren't just random prints in the dirt. They tell an actual story. One set shows a caretaker slipping in the mud while carrying an infant. Another shows a toddler splashing in a puddle formed inside a mammoth's footprint. A child kneeling down, grabbing fistfuls of sand. It's a real family, frozen in mud for over 20,000 years. But it gets even more intense. Some of these tracks show 2 hunters coordinating an ambush on a giant ground sloth. One approaches on tiptoe, sneaking in from the side, while the sloth is distracted. Scientists reconstructed the entire maneuver from the footprint patterns alone. So next time someone says we don't really know what ancient humans were like, just remember we can literally read their hunting tactics off the ground. Here's the part that breaks the one simple migration story completely. In 2015, geneticists studying isolated tribes in the Amazon rainforest, the Caritiana and Surui, found something nobody expected. A genetic signal, nicknamed Population Y, that's more closely related to indigenous Australians and Papua New Guineans than to any other Native American group. Let that sink in. Somewhere in ancient history, a completely separate group, with roots stretching toward Australia, made it into the Amazon. And the strangest part? This ancestry shows up nowhere else. Not in North America, not in Central America, just isolated pockets deep in the Amazon. So either there's an entire migration event we have zero archaeological evidence for, or the story of the first Americans was never just one story to begin with. Nobody's solved this one yet. Now, back to that Montana ranch. The skeleton found in 1968 belonged to a baby boy, buried around 12,600 years ago, surrounded by over 100 stone tools, dusted in red ochre. Scientists call him Anzick-1, the only human skeleton ever found directly linked to the Clovis culture. In 2014, his genome was finally sequenced, and it did something huge. It disproved a popular fringe theory that Ice Age Europeans were among the first Americans. His DNA traced straight back to Siberia. No European link at all. But here's the detail that gets me every time. The molecular biologist who led that DNA study, her name is Sarah Anzick. She was 2 years old, living on that exact ranch, the day the bones were found. She grew up to unlock her own backyard's biggest secret. In 2014, 46 years after he was dug up, Anzick-1 was finally reburied in an intertribal ceremony, with tribes consulted every step of the way. So, how did humans really get to America? Not in one clean walk. It was a stranded population, a family caught in mud, a mystery DNA signal from across the ocean, and a 2-year-old girl who grew up to solve it all. And honestly, we still don't have the full picture. So here's my question for you. If scientists ever find solid proof of that mystery Australian connection, does that change everything we think we know? Drop your theory in the comments. And if this blew your mind, you know what to do.